I'm going to give you 5 reasons why doing a rent-to-own trailer deal is a horrible idea. And if you watch all the way through to the end, you'll see my biggest struggle that I've had with this whole rent-to-own deal so far. At the time when my 3-car trailer finally broke down beyond what I was willing to repair, I was in the process of trying to buy some personal property. So I didn't want a bunch of inquiries from a bunch of different trailer dealers. So it was very tough for me to find a rent-to-own place that will not run my credit that would rent to own to a New York resident. For some reason, that's awfully difficult. So I ended up going all the way to Arkansas to a dealer to buy this one. Number 1, your payments are going to be way too high. Most people know and acknowledge this. They come to terms with it. They realize they're going to pay more for the trailer. You're going to pay more in your payments. You're also going to end up paying probably about double what the trailer is actually worth and what you would be able to buy it outright for. Most people acknowledge this, they come to terms with it, and they realize that's the price they pay for doing a rent-to-own deal. Number 2, you may not know, you cannot modify the trailer. You can't change it, you can't alter it. Technically, you're not even supposed to work on it. One thing I wanted to modify is put a winch mount up here on the front. I am not allowed to do that. I probably could if I planned on paying it all off and owning it, but if I ever want to turn it in, I can't have modifications. I wanted to put a plate there. So what I end up doing is putting my winch on a cradle that goes into the trailer hitch receiver. I've actually shown that whole process in a prior video of loading a box truck in Texas. The other thing that I would modify, if I could, is the dovetail. They call this a dovetail trailer, but it is not much of a dovetail. It is pretty high off the ground. If I could get that a little lower, that'd be great, to haul lower cars rather than just buying longer ramps, which even with 10-foot ramps, I did try that, still didn't give me enough without having to use boards. Lower dovetail would work out a lot better. All I would do is cut the plates. There's a seam there, cut the V out a little bit bigger, bend it down a little bit, weld it, put the plates back on. Be pretty simple, but I'm not allowed to do that. Number 3, DOT may question the registered owner if you get stopped. This has actually happened to me. DOT did almost a full-on investigation, sitting in their car for 20 minutes trying to figure out who owned the trailer. Some of them actually don't even know that you can rent a trailer. And when I tried to explain that it was a rent-to-own, the DOT officer pretty much told me, "What? That's crazy. I've never heard of that. That doesn't exist." So I had to dig out my rental contract, which luckily I carry with me, to prove that it was a rental. And I don't know, maybe that it wasn't stolen or something. I have no idea. But it was kind of a mess because the trailer wasn't registered to me or my company. The other thing to go along with this is this particular trailer is registered in Maine. So when I lost the license plate, that turns into a whole fiasco about getting a new plate. They had to charge me, I think it was $150 for a new plate. And it's not just a quick deal. If I would have lost my plate and it was registered in New York, I'd just run to the DMV, file a lost plate, and I'd get a new license plate. It's not so simple when you're not the registered owner. It's out of your control, and the company is in Arkansas, but the plate was registered out of Maine. Makes it very complicated if you happen to lose the plate. Number 4, if you look in your contract, it is going to say no commercial use most of the time. Most rent-to-own trailers are going to tell you personal use only. Now, I was pretty open when I bought the trailer. I walked in, I said I needed a trailer for commercial use. I was in a pinch and didn't have the cash to go out and buy a trailer. So I just needed a trailer. I told them it was for business, so they're all well aware. So if I ever tried to maybe accuse the rental company of breaking their own contract, we'll get to that later as well, they would just turn around and say, well, you broke it first because you're using it commercial, because they've known since day one. They still let me buy it, I'm assuming, to just keep some ammo, so they would always have that to fall back on. I don't really know, but it does say no commercial use, and I've been pretty open that I was using it commercially. And number 5, any damages that are on the trailer, same with the modifications we talked about earlier, any damages you will be charged for when you turn it back in. See, these, a couple of the hinges have broken. This one and this one have both broken. There was no way to grease this one. There was no grease fitting on it, and the hinge just seized up and ended up snapping. 2 of them have. I could replace them before I turn it in, but like I said, you're not supposed to alter the trailer. So welding new ones on and doing a repair, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I'll call them and I'll ask that ahead of time. So any damages, you pay for. Now, I talked to them, and I did tell them, you know, there's some surface rust from rocks in the tires or whatever, and they said that that would be fine. I've replaced a whole lot of lights, and if you watch any of my other videos, you know I cannot keep the hubcaps on there. For some reason, I buy new ones, I put them on, they fall off. I really should silicone them on there, but I have not done that. I don't know if I'm going to. Probably just going to keep the plastic thing on until I'm about to pull in the parking lot to turn the trailer in. I know I said 5. I know. I'm going to give you a bonus. I'm feeling generous today. So, number 6, we're going to get a little into my experience and my biggest issue that I've had, not so much with the trailer, a little bit, but mostly with the company. And I will say, full disclosure, they did end up making it right, but that doesn't negate everything that happened in the process. There is absolutely no customer support. Once you buy the trailer, how it works is you are going to a dealer. That dealer is selling the trailer to the rental company. The rental company is renting it to you. So the dealer's done. They might do warranty work, but they're completely done with you. The rental company, if you call them and tell them you have an issue, they're going to tell you, well, we're not a shop, we're a bank. Why would you come to us? Number 7 in my contract says all maintenance and repairs will be covered by the rental company. If they can't get a resolution within 2 business days, they'll give you a replacement trailer. So it says all this. So when I call them, they didn't know what I was talking about. Nobody could tell me why the contract says that, whether it's true or not, or what. So I didn't get any resolution. My trailer needed brakes. Fast forward a few months, I really started pushing the issue with the brakes. And they actually told me that they're a bank, not a shop. Why would I think that they could replace brakes? And the customer service rep actually told me, well, when you buy a car, you wouldn't go to the bank that you finance it through if you have an issue, would you? I said, well, no, but when I buy a car, the bank doesn't give me a contract saying that they'll cover maintenance and repairs. You wrote it in the contract. That was like pulling teeth. I was back and forth. I got to a point where I was calling them every single day. So they actually asked me to quote out the whole job. And I told them, I said, now, if I took it to a shop, I'd be paying labor. My labor will be free. I'll do it myself. You guys pay for the parts. So I ended up getting on eTrailer, pricing out all these brakes and grease seals. Came to like $928. Now, in the meantime, I had already bought the brakes and replaced them myself because I needed it to run and I couldn't wait on them. About a week ago, surprise, I got a check for $928 in the mail, which is great. But now I don't even want to tell them that the trailer needs tires. I'm probably just going to have to buy the tires because that was like pulling teeth. But rightfully, they should pay for the tires too. But they're going to act like they're doing me some big favor by paying for the brakes. But in reality, their contract says that they cover that stuff. So why am I the charity case here? I don't understand that at all. I explained to them that when I first bought this trailer, I was coming from another trailer that I was constantly having to work on. So I said, one of the biggest selling points for me was that it said maintenance is covered. I thought, wow, that's great. I wouldn't even do a rent-own. I would just rent a trailer if I didn't have to pay for any maintenance. So them acting like they didn't know what the heck I was talking about when they're the ones that gave me the contract that said that left a really bad impression on me about that company. So if you are okay with paying way more than what your trailer is worth and actually owning the trailer, doing all your own maintenance and repairs and everything, then maybe it wouldn't be a bad deal for you. But for me, it was a temporary thing. I was never actually intending on paying $26,000 for a $13,000 trailer. But the maintenance being covered was a huge bonus for me. And once I found out that that's not actually going to happen, they did it one time to shut me up. I highly doubt they would do it again. I have no intention of keeping the trailer. As soon as I can get another one, I'll have a different trailer. And this one will go back. And never again will I ever do another rent-to-own deal. Horrible idea. If you have any questions about the rent-to-own process, my experience, or just hotshot car hauling in general, let me know down in the comments. So there are my actual 6 reasons why buying a rent-to-own trailer is a horrible idea. You do what you got to do at that time, but my suggestion is to know that it's temporary and use that time, if you can, while you're making these astronomical payments, to stack up money to be able to buy a used trailer. It doesn't have to be brand new, just something you can pay cash for and not have a payment. As always, thank you for watching. I appreciate you bearing with my bad camera skills. Stay tuned for the next one. Stay safe.